Today's episode is going to be a very interesting one to talk about because we are diving into one of my most important films in just like my history of being a critic and a writer and just liking film. This movie means more to me than I think most. I would say Casablanca is the only other movie we've talked about that has that much emotional impact on me. This is not my favorite film, but I do really like talking about Breakfast at Tiffany's, and I feel like I just need to talk about it some more. So that's what we're doing. It's the Breakfast at Tiffany's episode. Let's get the disclaimer out of the way, and by disclaimer, I mean the one thing we have to bring up before we can talk about all the good stuff in this movie. The one bad thing that is going to ruin it for a lot of people. I'm not going to say anything else about it. It was bad at the time. It is bad now. It is bad. You hear reports that people in the production are like, why are we doing this? It's Mickey Rooney. I won't say another word. Just a completely shitty idea that nearly ruins a perfect movie. That sucks. That's out of the way. Let's get into the rest of Breakfast at Tiffany's, which has so many important things for us to talk about. Audrey Hepburn, a character I have talked about on this channel immensely. My favorite starlet of the era. I love everything about Audrey. I think she is fun and just shows you could be a good person, a wholesome sweetheart, and still be a movie star in this capacity. And that's what makes this performance for her so fascinating because it's against type. I say that with quotations because is it really against type? It has all of the qualities of Audrey that you love to see. Holly Golightly is just a more affluent woman who is willing to be promiscuous, which is not the image that Audrey had up until that point. And that's why I guess it's such a big difference in appearance. But she is so lovely in this movie, so bubbly. She plays off every character well. The long extent it takes of her just conversing with herself while we see Paul is in the room. It's beautiful. She looks gorgeous in every scene. I could do an entire episode just talking about her wardrobe in this movie. We're not going to do that. The iconic moments where she's outside of Tiffany's, where she's just sleeping in bed and she has her, earplugs in. She can't hear anything and isn't wearing any pants. It's gorgeous and stunning and a beautiful woman just presenting against type in a way that feels so natural, so vibrant. If you were ever like, oh, Audrey just does her one thing well, Holly Golightly is on an easy character for somebody to authentically pull off with the same power she does, but she does it well. And it's fun to see. When she's playing drunk, I swear to God, some of the best acting of her career. Just she is so good at just presenting like can barely keep herself together, stumbling on her words, tripping up sometimes. Perfect. It's perfect acting. I love it. Is this the first Blake Edwards film I've covered? It might be. I like Blake Edwards. A fun director who has made some very interesting pictures. This is his best one, obviously. And this also marks the first time we're talking Truman Capote, which is kind of interesting. Not a character I feel like I need to dive into that much. Everything that's ever been said on him has already been said. I have nothing new to add to the conversation. Interesting man. Not a fan of this adaptation, which is a really cool thing to see, but I get it. Because of the time period that this movie was filmed, certain things had to be changed. Is it kind of based on his relationship with a real woman? Yes. But of course, what we know about Truman Capote and the character in the book, a little bit different than what's actually in real life and on the movie. So I do understand why he'd be upset. It is glamorized to a really wholesome extent that it is about the happy ending, which could upset some diehard fans of the book, but I don't really think there's diehard fans of the book that think this is bad. It's very interesting in that way, but it is the Hollywood ending where the two end up together, even though the circumstances say they shouldn't. And that's kind of fun. So Paul is our other lead character, George Peppard, an early George Peppard, looking so handsome and sleek. You just love him. He is a writer, because who isn't a writer these days? You know what I mean? He moves into the building. One of my favorite setups is just people that live in the same building who become friends and fall in love like that. It works so effortlessly, especially in this movie. You love to see it. But we couldn't make him gay like he was in the book. So what do we do instead? Oh, he's a gigolo. An easy cover around for that story. I kid, but seriously, is that better? Is that easier for us to digest? Like, this guy has an affair with this married woman. By the way, I'll sing the praises of Audrey all day. Patricia Neal in this movie, for the limited screen time she has, delivers a lot of heavy moments. She is very powerful and demanding, and when she doesn't get her way, she doesn't get like a pouty child. She's like, you'll see that I'm right. Just like so confident in everything that she could control this man, and it just makes for their relationship to be so compelling to see. I really like the aspect, and yes, it's not like the book, but one of the best aspects of this movie is there is no like tension or bitterness between Holly and Paul. Like they're like, we're kind of in the same boat. One of us is just out to be on our own. The other one's out to have money, which is kind of the same story that they're going for. And there's so much fun stuff to lean into with that. It just makes for some great stuff. Holly is a lady of promiscuous intent. We don't specifically say what she is, but there are people she works for and does things for. It's interesting, you know? Very against Audrey's type, of course. It's just so cool to see her play that way, and how she is so confident and comfortable shooing off every man that comes her way, those who show up to her door, the stuff with Mickey Rooney, the stuff with like the gangsters that show up to her, the police officers, because you forget this kind of turns into she was secretly working for the mob kind of elements. It's so funny and confident, but she is just a young woman who is seeking power and escape from her past life. One of my favorite side stories is when Doc shows up, Doc Golightly, who is her husband, who had her when she was 14, and then she ran away, and you're like, ooh, this is kind of gross, but it's a really good story of this man who wants to protect this young girl like everyone else in her life, but he went about it a different way. He saw Holly before she became Holly. It was Lulu, and he wants to protect her, but he can't. Nobody can. And finally, the story kind of like reaches its climax when she realizes that maybe Paul has to save her, and that she actually is capable of love, which is the thing she's been escaping this whole time. No attachment. She's only been marrying for money. The richest men in America, the richest men in Cuba, all over the world. She's just looking for a way to be stable, but be independent. And she finds the men that do that for her. And you love it because it's not what you're expecting from Audrey. And I just so much enjoy seeing that dynamic presented, where this is a woman we've known to be sweet and cute, and she has her sweet moments. She's singing Moon River. She's just looking adorable in everything she does. She tries to cook a salad and it explodes. You love it. You love everything about this girl. She's given so much to do. It's such a strong performance. But because I'm a man, I completely understand everything that Paul does in this movie. I would do exactly what he does. There is not a thing he does in this movie that I wouldn't agree to do. This strange woman is living in your building. She invites you in. You want to use her phone. She's talking around everything. She is so charming and sweet that you're going to fall in love with her to the point where you need to get out of your situationship and be with this woman, even if it means you're going to struggle. It's really good to see. And look, again, I love seeing Audrey have chemistry with her actors, whether they like each other or not. She is very comfortable around Picard, and they have really good chemistry. And you just seeing them play off each other, there's certain moments where it feels very natural, like when she's drunk and he just picks her up over his shoulder. When they do the let's do something we've never done before, when they go to Tiffany's, when they go to the shop and they steal the masks, like all of that, it's so cute and friendly. And I know why Capote doesn't like that, because he wants us to be like a story of like grit and grittiness and look at this relationship. It's really weird. But there is some romance to it. Whether or not Paul is a straight man, there is chemistry there that is undeniable, and those characters have that relationship and they need each other to survive. They feed off each other's attention. They love each other immensely. It's a really positive thing to see that you just adore. It's so nice to see that. And it's so weird to me, like we couldn't talk about certain things, but then we can have funny, sexy moments like that. I love that. It's very cool. There's so many quiet moments that we could talk about, internal moments that matter, but this is a Blake Edwards movie. The guy likes his big comedy stuff. Like the party scene is so funny when everybody just starts crowding into this little apartment, and you see so many of the just like the small things. Oh, that woman's hat is lit on fire. We're going to pour a drink on it by accident. So clever, so fun. Here's a book. I brought a book so you can have like a housewarming gift. Let's put it on a shelf next to a bunch of like chips. It's so funny. We open up the bathroom curtain. We see there's a man who keeps calling Audrey a phony. He's making out with some nice woman. They escape on the fire escape. It's very cute. It's so funny, and that's just the energy we don't do a lot of today is like just this type of romance. Just look at these people in bad circumstances who need each other to survive. It's kind of interesting. You love to see it, whether you're escaping your destiny or finding it. It's so fun to see. And if there's one thing that doesn't really work for what the story has been setting up, it might be the ending. I am very mixed on the ending of this movie because so often I'm just like, no, I think Holly shouldn't fall to this trap. She's been very adamant up until the last minute that this is not a relationship she wants to find. I understand for the sake of the movie and the sake of dramatic tension that she has to end up with Paul. It's fine that way. But it does work when they're friends. It works better when they're friends and she comes back to him because it's the only person she loves in that capacity, not romantically, because she's been trying to find the romantic hold that's been lost. I don't love it, though. The kiss at the end works. I do like Mr. Cat being in between them during the kiss. They put that cat through hell in this movie. That cat goes through so many different things, just thrown all over the place, walking about. It's insane what that cat does. Kind of cool, though. Like, the cat's actually important and just shows up in scenes. Kind of exciting. It is a good romantic movie with a lot of heart in it, good characters that play off each other well, 2 great performances from amazing leads. Everyone is doing great work. It's sexy, it's horny, it's fun, it's vibrant, it's party, it's garish. You just love seeing these people have a good time. Holly Golightly, one of the most iconic characters in film history who holds up immensely. Her story is very prominent then as it is today. This is a woman trying to escape the clutches of the men who want to control her, find her own destiny, and find her own money through manipulating these men that have manipulated her. It's kind of positive. It's kind of cool. It's freaking awesome. It's Breakfast at Tiffany's. I love every second of this movie except for the part that I mentioned. It is a strong film with cool stuff being presented. And if you want a good, accurate depiction of how to write a strong male and female friendship, it's pretty much this. They go to a strip joint together and nobody is uncomfortable. What else do you need from that kind of friendship? So, worth watching. It's a good movie. I want more people to watch it for some reason. Just do it, though. It's Breakfast at Tiffany's. It's awesome. You know? Do you think she's handsomely paid? It's good stuff. It's good stuff. So that's going to do it for this episode of Romantic Tales. So thank you all for watching this video. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Hive. And I will catch you in the next one. Have fun. Stay safe. Good luck.